So good morning. Make sure that you have a blanket for the practice this morning. Come into a comfortable seat that has the qualities of ease and alertness. I have been working with a teaching that we'll use as our theme for the practice. And that is the recognition that on the spiritual path, we need to do the work. So we need to come to practice, and it's important to be practicing. And at the same time, we have absolutely no control over the outcome and when understanding blossoms or when grace arrives. And so it's that kind of dichotomy between the application of effort and then the letting go of attachment to where that effort takes us. So it's complete openness along with total dedication. And there's a category of poses that for me really exemplify this challenge, to do the work and then to be open for the story to present itself or to be revealed at any moment that is unpredictable. And that category of poses is the category of arm balances. For me, for many years, they are a category of poses that come easily to my body. And so for many years, I applied the techniques and did the poses mostly when a teacher was guiding me to do them. I wouldn't get any lift off, nothing would happen. And then one day, in whatever particular pose, just spontaneously, mysteriously, I would have some sense of liftoff, some sense of air, some sense of capacity to execute the pose. And nothing had changed. So it's not like I suddenly learned a new technique. It's not that I suddenly felt stronger. It's like just that I consistently put in the work of moving toward the poses, and then one day, poof, revelation happened. And so we are going to do some arm balances, not tons, but we're going to do some arm balances this morning with the recognition that we want to balance that application effort with the opening to whatever arises, to the spontaneous showing up of the effort or of an unfolding into an understanding that is really totally beyond our personal control. So with that in mind, close your eyes. Bring your attention to your breath. As you settle your attention on the breath, let the weight of the body drop down more deeply into the seat on which you are sitting. Adjust in any way that's needed so that you feel more centered and balanced on that seat. And then deliberately open to the possibility of more, to the possibility of surprise, to the possibility of frustration, to the possibility of ease. so that instead of setting up expectations for the practice, we instead center and balance in ourselves and then open as fully as possible to what may arrive and arise. Notice that as the body opens, in whatever way that might look like, and it might particularly look like relaxing the belly or the shoulders or the jaw or all of those. As the body opens, there's a shift in the breath as well. Use the connection to the breath to bring your attention underneath the thoughts and find the place in the center of you. So that's a midway point between the base of the pelvis and a spot that's about a foot above the crown of the head. As you feel into that center of you, as best you can, imagine it as open space, undiluted by expectation, not colored by past experience or projected experience. And that central space might take on the hue of gold, like golden sunlight. That center of you might feel like it's a warm cobalt blue, color of the peacock's neck. Or it might feel like the deep black of the night sky sprinkled with tiny sparkling dots of stars. And it may be something completely different from those suggestions. But as best you can, as you feel into that center of you, notice the texture and the color. And with the intention of being able to return to that center in the middle of the chest, that place that is uncolored by expectations, past experiences, or future projections. Hands together in front of that area. And as we Om, to initiate the movement practice, the asana practice, feel the Om vibrate, send a little ripple through that space in the center of you. Take a full breath in. Bow your head over to that space of infinite possibility in the center of you. Release your hands, lift your head, and then come to your mat. And come onto the knees. You can put a blanket down across the mat for your knees if that's and tuck your toes under. So you've got all of the toes tucked under, and the toes are off the blanket on the mat. As you tuck all the toes under, bring the inner edges of the feet together, especially the inner balls of the feet. And feel the outer edges of the feet draw toward the outer ankles to the outer knees, and sit back on the heels. If sitting all the way on the heels isn't available this morning, then you can insert a folded blanket in between your hips and your heels, or a pillow. Interlace your hands in front of you. Turn the palms out so that they face away from you, and you gaze at the backs of the hands. Micro bend the elbows. Descend the shoulder blades. And then with the next breath in, stretch the arms up overhead. Lift up along the sides of the torso. Curl the center of the chest up. Take the head back. And lift the chin maybe a little bit, but strongly take the head back. Now, lift the chin, look up at your hands. Exhale, take the hands down in front of you, and then reverse the interlacing, meaning that you just rotate the fingers so that the other thumb is in front and you're in an unusual clasp of the hands. Turn the palms forward, sit down on the heels, slightly bend the elbows, take the arms up overhead. As you stretch the head, without lifting the chin really yet, take the head back. Now, press the shoulder blades deeply into the upper back. Curl the center of the heart up. Lift the chin, look up. Feel the space in the center of your chest. And feel like the arms originate from that space and stretch up from there. Exhale. Take the hands down, come forward onto your knees just so that you can extend the toes back, separate the knees, child's pose, extended child's pose. So sitting on the heels, walk the hands forward. As you walk the hands forward, keep the head up for a moment or two. Separate the hands shoulder distance apart. Press the pads of the fingers and the knuckles at the base of the fingers and the mounds at the base of the thumbs evenly into the ground, and feel space in the center of the palms of the hands. Now draw that through the arms into the space in the center of your torso, and then feeling into that space in the center, lower your head, place your forehead on the ground, with just a slight turn of the chin toward the chest. Feeling into the space in the center of you and the space in the center of the palms. Turn of the upper arms down and around toward the side of the face. Extend the hips back and down to the heels. And breathe. Part of the work of the practice is constantly turning our attention to the breath so that we dive under the stream of evaluations, judgments, narratives that the mind spontaneously creates, but that are not most of the time very useful or even interesting. Without changing the distance between your hands and your feet, inhale onto your hands and knees. Separate the feet as wide as the knees. Tuck the toes under, downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Continue to work the arms and the hands as we were. And now pull the hips strongly back away from the shoulders and the shoulders away from the wrists. Bend the knees a little bit. Press into the big toe sides of the
feet, so the base of the big toes, and even curl the pinky toe sides of the feet and the pinky toes a little bit more up away from the earth. Turn the inner thighs, the inner knees and the inner groins back behind you, and keep that as you stretch the legs straight. Firm the muscles on the outer hips and compact or narrow the outer hips. Now walk the hands to the feet, standing forward bend. Take the hands to the feet, fold over the legs are wide here. Release the head completely, turning the mind-generated expectations over to that space of possibility, of openness in the center of us. Bend the knees a little bit. Weight the base of the big toes down and lift the outer edges of the feet a little bit away from the ground. Clear, sharp edge on the outer edges of the feet. And they're not kind of flattening out against the earth. So there's even perhaps a little bit of space at the midway point between the outer heel and the base of the baby toe. Now turn the inner knees and the inner groins back toward the wall behind you. Maintain that stretch the legs straight. Hug the outer hips in and peel the low belly off the tops of the legs. So feel the work in the pose, the work of positioning the body with attention and awareness, and holding our mind present in that experience. Now keeping the feet exactly as they are, walk the hands back, forward, and come back into downward facing dog without disturbing the legs. Separate the hands, push into the knuckles at the base of the fingers and the heels of the thumbs. Feel into the space in the center of the palms. Feel into the space in the center of the torso and feel the connection point, the way that the space in the center of you has a relationship to the space in the center of the palms. One more breath. Exhale, and drop the knees to the ground. This time child's pose, but with the knees and the feet together. So sit back on the heels once you've joined the inner edges of the legs. Release the head. So from here we'll do a side stretch. So lifting the head a little bit, walk your hands over to the right. Keep the right sitting bone on the right heel so you haven't shifted your hips to the right. And then from your left hip, reach out along the left side of the torso to your left fingertips. Even walk the left fingertips out away from you a little bit more. Inhale back to center. Exhale here. And then the other side. So walk the hands all the way around to the left. And again, keeping the sitting bones over the heels. Lengthen from your right hip to your right fingertips. Find that place where we're feeling into the effort of the pose, of the position. We're experiencing sensation along the right side of the torso. There's a recognition that there's always more that could happen. And that's more not meaning to make the pose more intense, but more attention, more attention to the subtlety, more refinement. And also there's the willingness to be with what is and to open to that. And then walk the hands back to center. Place the hands under the shoulders. Come up. turn and lie on your back. So you can fold the blanket for behind your head if you'd like. We're going to do some Supta Padangusthasana work on the back. The supine leg stretches. So lying down and supporting the head as desired. Extend the left leg straight on the ground with the knee and the foot pointing up. Really strongly press the back of the left thigh bone down into the floor. Draw the right knee in. Take the right arm on the inside of the right knee. Catch either the outside edge of the shin, the ankle, or the baby toe side of the foot. So pause here. Right knee is bent. And you have the outside edge of the foot. You're drawing the baby toe side of the foot to the outer knee. Glue the right upper arm and the right knee together. And now stretch the leg straighter. At some point the arm will and the knee will separate, but you hold that for as long as possible. Keep a little hollow in the lower back. Press the left thigh bone down. Turn the inner knee on the right leg toward the wall away from you. And then lengthen the inseam of the right leg from the inner groin through the inner heel to the base of the big toe. Breathe. Now, in whatever degree of stretch you're in, whatever position you're in the body, hold that while releasing your right arm. So you're not changing the shape of the pose. You're just taking your right arm away from your right leg. Feel what you're needing to shift and adjust that, and make sure that there's no unnecessary tension in the jaw. Exhale, bend the right leg, put the right foot on the ground. Bend the left leg, change sides. So right leg straight. Press the back of the right thigh bone firmly down. And hollow the lower back slightly up away from the ground. Left knee in. So the left knee aims a little bit more toward the armpit than the shoulders, just slightly out. Take the left hand to the inside of the knee. Hold. Ideally the outside edge of the foot. Doesn't even matter if your leg goes straight. If you can catch the outside edge of the foot, do that. Draw the outside edge of the foot toward the outside of the knee. Squeeze your left knee against your left upper arm. Now, without disturbing your right leg, stretch the left leg straight. Again, at some point the leg and the arm will disengage. Turn the inner knee on the left leg toward the wall away from you. So you have an internal rotation in that leg than usual. And then lengthen along the inside edge of the leg. Breathe. Soften the jaw and the eyes. And as you do the work of the pose, as best you can, soften your attention to the mind's narration of what's happening. Dive deeper into the experience of sensation and to the breath, and let that open you to the sense of possibility of what might be available today. Now, keeping the left leg exactly as it is, release the left hand. Hold the leg in place. One more breath. Bend, release. Come back to the first side. So left leg straight, right leg bent. This time we're going to take the right leg out to the right, but without using the hands. So pressing the left thigh down, draw the right knee in, Push out through flex the foot a little bit, push out through the base of the big toe, curl the baby toe toward the baby toe side of the foot toward the outside of the right knee. Stretch the right leg straight. So we're not going to turn it out strongly. Instead, more significantly push through the inner edge of the leg. And now as you exhale, take the leg up toward the right shoulder and out to the right without letting the left hip lift. So no hands. Lengthen through the inside edge of the right leg and feel what's holding the right leg in space. Now, keeping the leg strong and straight, inhale, bring it back up. Exhale, bend and release. And then change sides. So right leg straight, left leg bent. Hollow out the lower back a little bit. Keeping the back of the right thigh down and the right hip heavy. Bring the left knee toward the chest. Flex the foot. Press the left leg straight, lengthening the inside edge of the leg. So the baby toe side of the foot curls down to the outside of the hip. Now, without changing that orientation of the leg, open it out to the side. As the left leg goes to the left, keep the right hip heavy and feel what holds the left leg in place. Do open it as much as possible while maintaining the form of the pose as best you can. One more breath. And then bring the leg back up, bend, and release. So now we're going to roll onto the right side, Anantasana. Rolling onto the right side, you can move the support that you've had for your head, probably. And then place yourself so that you can tuck the outer edge of the right foot underneath you. And that's making like a little shelf for your legs to rest on. Stack your left leg on top of your right. Line your hip over your ankle, your right hip, and then lengthen the right side of the torso. Extend the right arm out on the ground, bend the elbow, and use the right arm to hold your head. Bring the entire right side of the torso down on the ground. Even bring the armpit, which is not going to touch for most of us anyway, on the ground as best you can. Now, feel what you were using to hold the leg when it was out to the side a moment ago. And feeling into that, bend the left knee, reach the left hand on the inside edge of the knee, catch the outside edge of the foot. Balance. And then stretch the left leg straight. Breathe. Anchor yourself with the baby toe side of the right foot. Feel the work in the buttocks. And now lengthen the inside edge of the left leg as much as possible. And then bend, release, and roll to the other side. So I'm going to change the orientation. So as you tuck the baby toe side of the left foot underneath you, my balance point is right at the bottom of the baby toe. And then as you stack the legs, line the left hip with the left ankle, lengthen the whole left side of the torso as you place it on the ground, and bend the left elbow to prop the head up. That's not a good idea for the neck. You can have the arm extended and your head down. I forgot to say on the first side. So now bringing the entire left side of the torso down on the ground. Feel again into what you are using to hold the leg in place in the previous pose. Supta Visvamitrasana to the side. And then bend the right leg. Take the right arm on the inside of the knee, catch the baby toe side of the foot. Feeling the stability work in the buttocks. Stretch the right leg straight. Anchor yourself with the base of the left baby toe. Engage the muscles of the buttocks. Lengthen through the inside edge of the right leg and press firmly out through the base of the right big toe, the ball mound of the foot. 1 or 2 more breaths. And then release. Press yourself up to sit. We're going to do one more seated pose and then we'll make our way to standing Baddha Konasana. So join the soles of the feet together and open the knees to the side. And sit on your blanket or pillow as desired. So if your knees are high, that might be useful. So today, with the heels pushing very firmly against each other, place your hands at your hips. Drop the shoulder blades away from your ears, and now lift your hips just an inch or two off the ground. Turn the sitting bones back toward the wall behind you, and descend the inner edges of the thighs toward the ground. And as you place your hips back down, come a little more forward toward the front of the sitting bones. Lengthen from the inner thighs to the inner knees. Lift the center of the chest up. And as you push the heels together, open the balls of the feet as much as possible away from each other. So it's just the base of the baby toes that are glued together. And you're trying to turn your toenails down toward the ground without using your hands. Breathe. Couple more breaths. And then releasing the arms, take the outsides of the knees, join the knees together, and then spin around and set up again for downward facing dog. Place the hands well. Tuck the toes under, lift the hips up. Adho Mukha Svanasana. As you place the hands shoulder distance apart, release the pads of the fingers into gravity, into the earth. Sink the weight into the knuckles at the base of the digits. And press the inner base of the palms and the outer base of the palms down. Microbend the elbows. Spin the triceps toward the sides of the face. And now really strongly pull the hips back. Lift the base of the feet and even the baby toes a bit off the ground and push more firmly into the base of the big toes. Turn the inseam of the legs toward the wall behind you. Pull back. Release the head. This time, walk the feet to the hands, standing forward bend. Fold over the legs. So perhaps place the feet a little closer together, perhaps not. Lift up the toes for a moment. Make the outer edges of the feet sharp so that there's a really clear line from the outer edges of the ground and they're not spreading out against the floor. Now as you push into the base of the big toes and the inner heels, keep the outer edges of the feet sharp, release the toes down. Turn the inseam of the legs back toward the wall behind you so that your heels push apart slightly. Hug the outer hips together and extend the crown of the head all the way down toward the toes. Breathe. as you keep your attention on the breath, at the same time feel into the space again in the center of the torso. Color that space. And it's like all of the expectations and the limitations from our past rememberings and the imaginings of our future projections. Feed that all into that space in the center of the chest, so that we're open to the possibilities as they unfold without limiting them with the past or making unrealistic projections into the future. Put your hands on your hips, lift your chin. Inhale, up. Exhale. Turn and face the long edge of the mat. Garudasana, arms first. So just arms, I mean. So stretch the arms to the sides. As you exhale, take the right elbow underneath the left and the forearms around each other so that the right palm is in front of the left. If that doesn't, then you can just simply bring your forearms together and the elbows together, or give yourself a big hug holding. Wherever you are, drop the shoulder blades down away from the ears and lift the elbows up a little bit. Now take the head back. And as you move the back of the head straight toward the wall behind you, extend the forearms a little bit away from the face. Release the jaw and the eyes. Unwrap the forearms. Inhale, stretch the arms to the sides. And now as you exhale, other way. So left elbow under right, or whatever position you did on the first side. Take the shoulder blades down, away from the ears, and lift the elbows up a little bit, just so the top elbow is more or less in line with the shoulders. Then as you move the head back, forearms away from you, and feel the contact of the breath against the upper back. One more breath. And then release the arms. Inhale, step the feet to the sides. Triangle pose, Trikonasana. Turn the left foot slightly in. Rotate the right leg and foot out. Firm your right thigh and line your right knee up with the middle toes of your right foot. Stretch the arms to the sides. So we're going to take the hand down on the inside, the right hand down on the inside edge of the right leg. So if you can get your hand to the ground, do that. If not, you'll hold your shin or your ankle. So lift up a bit on the right side and then reach out to the right and take the right hand down. Stretch the left arm straight up or put the hand on the hip. Glue your left heel down and push it out away from you. Press into the big toe side of the right foot and turn the inside edge of the right leg slightly more toward the wall behind you. At the same time, squeeze the right arm. Descend the shoulder blades. And now take the head back. Without really lifting the chin, strongly take the head back. And feel into the space in the center of the chest. And extend that space into the center of the chest, out through the arms, into the center of the palms. Breathe. Push into your heels. Inhale, come up. Exhale, release the arms, turn the feet. And then the other side. So turn the
right foot slightly in, take the left leg and foot out. Same thing, affirm your left thigh, line it up with your left, line your left knee up with the middle toes of your left foot. Stretch the arms to the sides, lift up a bit, and then as you come over, inside edge of the foot. Glue the back heel down and push it out away from you. Plant the big toe side of the front foot and do a little bit more of a rotation. This is not the usual work in the pose, so do a little more internal rotation of the left leg. So the left sitting bone actually moves a little bit toward the wall behind you. Now keeping that length on the inside of the leg, firm the outer hip. So it's very similar to Supta Panabhustasana, leg to the side, that we did on the ground. Then lengthen the underside of the torso. Draw the shoulder blades, take the head back, curl the heart up. Really notice that when you take the head back, the chest lifts. One more breath here. Push into the heels. Come up. Turn the feet, lower the arms. Step or hop the feet together. Garudasana, legs. So put the hands on the hips. If you need help with balance, just come to a wall or use a piece of furniture to help the balance by using your arm against the wall. Bend the left leg deeply. Lift the right leg up. And now, as you take the right leg across the left, turn that leg strongly internally in the hip socket. Then either squeeze the right foot against the left calf or wrap the right toes behind the left calf. Square your hips more significantly. Really feel the work in the legs. So feel the way that you're pressing down into the big toe side of the left foot, the internal rotation of the right leg, and the squeezing of the hips together in the compacting of this pose. And then unwrap, bring the right foot to the ground. Speaking in the balancing poses is a whole added challenge. So, standing on the right foot, we'll do the second side. So, the right leg deeply. Lift the left leg up. It's an internal rotation as you hook. So you really want to turn that leg internally in the hip socket. And then left foot squeezes to the right calf or hooks the toes hook behind. Bring your hips more or less to face forward. Breathe. Feel the work in the pose. And then unwrap. Touch the left foot to the ground. So now, Visvamitrasana, extended side angle, with the hand on the inside edge of the foot, just like we did in triangle pose. Okay, puppy, you gotta move. Step or hop the feet really wide apart. Whoops. And as you step or hop the feet wide apart, slightly in, rotate the left leg and foot out, or the right leg and foot out. Stretch the arms to the sides. Deeply bend your front knee. Push into your back heel, and just for a moment, rest the right forearm on the right thigh, put your left hand on your hip. Now, push into the big toe side of the right foot, and make the baby toe side of the foot sharp. Point the knee straight forward, and lengthen from the inner thigh to the inner knee. Then lengthening the left side of the torso, right side of the torso. Put your right hand down on the inside edge of the right. Take the head back. As you take the head back, curl the chest up. Stretch the left arm up. Really strongly move the head back. And at the same time, press the right upper arm into the right knee and the right knee back into the arm. Push into your heels. Come all the way back up. Turn the feet, lower the arms. And then the second side. Turn the right foot in, rotate the left leg and foot out. Extend the arms to the sides.
Bend your front knee deeply. Put your forearm on your thigh, your right hand on your hip. Push down from your right hip into your right heel. Point your left knee straight forward over the middle toe of your foot. And then sharpen the outer edge of the foot and press into the big toe side of the foot without dropping the inner arch. Feel into the space in the center of your chest. From that space, extend the left hand down to the inside edge of the left foot. Move the head back. Press the shoulder blades into the upper back. Stretch the right arm up. Breathe. Do the work in the pose. And at the same time, open to the possibility of more, of the spontaneous arrival of understanding, of illumination, of ease, of oneness. Pushing into the heels, inhale, come up, turn the feet, lower the arms, exhale, inhale, step the feet together. Garudasana, full pose. So if your balance is unsteady and you're using the wall, you can do this with your back at the wall and your feet several inches away from the wall so that you can work the hook, or you can just work the legs and have your arm at the wall. If you're doing it freestanding, we're going to stand on the left foot first, and then the right leg is on top and the right arm is underneath. So, focusing your gaze. Bend your left leg deeply. Take the right leg, cross it over. Squeeze the right foot or hook it behind. And then right elbow under left. Move the head back. Extend the forearms away from you. Internally rotate the right leg. Push into the big toe of the left foot. Inhale, unwrap all of that. Exhale. Second side. So deeply bend the right leg. Focus the gaze. Take the left leg, wrap it around. Left arm under right. Breathe. Unwrap arms and legs. Face the short edge of the mat. Separate the feet, standing forward bend. Uttanasana. Inhale. Exhale to come over. As you come, touch the fingertips to the ground. Spin the inner knees back toward the wall behind you. Turn the inner groins back toward the wall behind you. Heels widen a little bit, side to side. Against that, squeeze the outer calves in. So the outside edge of the foot is sharp, and the baby toe even might lift a little bit. Peeling the low belly away from the tops of the legs. Extend the torso all the way down. Reach the crown of the head toward the ground. Two or three more breaths. Bend the knees, place the hands flat, stop or leg all the way back, facing dog. Just a breath or two here. And then drop the knees to the ground. So here you can use the blanket again for the knee support. Around, at least for a moment. So from the hands and knees, step the right foot up to the outside of the right hand. And your right foot can angle a little bit out to the right. Keep the knee lined up with the middle toe of the right foot. Lengthen the sides of the torso. It's a funny instruction, but it works. You kind of shift your hips a little bit to the right and turn the right inner thigh down toward the ground more. So if this puts pressure right on your right sitting bone, then ease off on that and firm the right buttocks more. If you can, keep the right hip shifted over to the right of it, so it's kind of more in line with the outside edge of the right foot. Do that and squeeze the buttocks in there. Watch that the knee doesn't drop past the third toe on the right foot. And then take the left elbow to the ground, and if possible, take the right elbow to the ground. Lengthen the front of the torso. Breathe. If you don't feel enough, you could tuck the left toes under, lift your left knee up off the ground. But watch that you're going to overwork here. So we're really doing this to have the torso, especially the right side of the torso, come down on the inside of the right thigh. And then come back up on your and change sides. So swing the right foot back, step the left foot forward. So the left foot is to the outside edge of the left hand. And you've angled the foot a little bit off to the left. Again, point the knee over the third toe, and without letting the knee drop in, shift your hips a little bit to the left. So your left sitting bone spins out to the left, and you have a bit more of a sense of internal rotation in that leg. Lengthen the sides of the torso. Make your way down onto your right elbow, then your left. Hug your left buttocks in, even though your left sitting bone is more to the outside edge of the left heel. Lengthen the front line of the torso. Drop the shoulder blades. Curl the space in the front of the space in the middle of the chest forward. Two more breaths. Come on up, and then swing that foot back. We're going to do the first side again with an optional variation. So bring the right foot to the outside of the right hand. Turn the foot and the knee out. So feel free to just repeat what we did the first time, which is making your way onto your elbows. Otherwise, turning the right sitting bone slightly out to the right. Take your right shoulder down and hook it underneath your right knee. And put your right hand on the outside edge of the right foot. Bend the elbows a little more to the side and extend the front of the forward. You could also make your way down onto your left elbow here. But keep squeezing the right knee in against the right hand. If you made your way down onto your left elbow, come back up. And now everybody, if your hand is on the outside of your right foot, lift your right heel. You could do that even if your hand is on the inside. If you've got the right heel lifted, then you can slide the foot a little forward and lift it up. Put it back down. Unwrap. And then the second side. So bring the left foot to the outside of the left hand. Squeeze the knee in. Bend the elbow so you lower the torso, but tuck your left shoulder here underneath your left knee. Either stay here, elbows kind of bent to the sides, or make your way down onto your right elbow. More importantly, squeeze the left calf and the left shoulder together. Lengthen the front line of the torso. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze the left knee in. If you're down on your elbow, make your way back up. Everybody lift the heel, the left heel up. If you've got your arm underneath, then walk the foot. It kind of goes forward a bit and out to lift the foot off the ground. And then put it down, unwrap. Come back. Malasana, a squat position. If the squat isn't working for your body, and that's too much pressure on your knees, then you could do Baddha Konasana, which is the soles of the feet touching and the knees to the side, and you would come forward from there. If that's the position you're going to do, then make sure that the heels are not so close to the body that you can't get the pelvis to tip forward and bring you into the forward extension. So depending on your body, I need support for the heels when my feet are together. Take support for the heels as needed, and bring the big toe sides of the feet together. There can be a little space between the heels, but the balls of the feet touch. Momentarily squeeze the knees together and wrap your arms around your knees. Lift the chest up. Move the head back. Curl the heart up. And then open to the side. As you open the knees to the side, take the torso in between the thighs. Walk your arms forward. So for a moment or two, I let the knees open quite wide so I can really pull the torso through. And then kind of clamp the knees back in. Lengthen the front of the torso. Now, come up on the fingertips and take the hands wide. And then, walk the hands back toward the feet. So they're not going to come right to the feet. At some point, the hands can touch down on the ground. We're not going to do Bakasana, crow pose today, in case you're wondering. But you want to squeeze the knees into the arms into the knees, and lengthen the front of the torso. Make the front line of the torso as long as possible. And then unwrap the arms, come up. Sit with the legs straight out in front of you. So ideally here, you would not sit up on a blanket, but if you need the blanket to be comfortable and to make sure that the lower back isn't rolling backwards, then sit on a blanket. With your hands, turn your thighs in. So this next position is the beginning of like shoulder pressing pose. One-legged shoulder pressing, one arm shoulder pressing pose. The name has just escaped me. Ekahasta Bhujasana in Sanskrit. So bend the right leg in, and this has the potential to be an arm balance, but you don't have to go that far. So there's stopping point way. So bend your right knee in. Take your right arm to the inside of the knee, catch the baby toe side of the foot. So it's just like we did when we were lying down earlier. And then lift the foot up so that the shin is more or less parallel to the ground. Take the knee strongly back. It can open a little bit, but go back more. Now reverse the arms. So hold the left foot with the right foot with the left hand. And then tuck the right calf up over the right shoulder. And if it's possible there, you can kind of roll the calf in. So this might be where you stay. Taking the right knee back, rounding the torso, and tucking the leg over the shoulder. If you're continuing, put the right hand down on the ground beside your right hip or thigh, and point the elbow straight out to the side so the upper arm makes a shelf for your leg to rest on. Most important point here, you're pulling the right heel toward your right sitting bone so that that holds the leg in place. It's the same or similar musculature to what kept the leg to the side in the opening Supta Padangusthasana. So you could just stay here. This is a very good place to be. If you're wanting to go further and do that arm balance, press your left heel down, lift your hips up. Pull your hips back toward the wall behind you. Take your left foot up off the ground. Come back down, unwrap, stretch the leg out straight. Second side. So bend the left leg in. And as you do that, just recognize that we're doing the work. We're constantly asking our body to be flexible and strong and steady and build stamina and endurance. We're asking our mind to be present to the experience. And then sometimes things work out and we execute the way our mental idea of what should be happening, and sometimes it doesn't. And that's what is not within our control. What we do is show up, do the work, and open as much as possible to the potential for grace to arrive. So, with that in mind, we just work wherever we're at. Bend the left leg, take the left arm on the inside of the knee, catch the baby toe side of the foot. So you don't even have to pull the foot all the way in toward the hip. Squeeze the knee and the arm together. Lift up so that the shin is parallel relatively to the ground. And the lower back rounds a bit here. It's an arm balance. That's a more, it's the position needed for the pose. Pull the knee straight back. So it's like a sawing action. Then switch the arms. So catch the foot with the left foot with the right hand. Tuck the shoulder under. Put the leg down. Bring the baby toe side of the foot to the to the outer knee. And again, this might be where you stay. If you're continuing, put the left hand down beside the left hip, fingers pointing forward, but the elbow bends out to the side, so that's a shelf for the arm to rest on, or for the leg to rest on, and pull the left heel toward the left sitting bone. Put your right hand down, maybe you stay here. Maybe you lift the hips up, and as you pull the hips back, the torso comes forward, and then lift the leg. Breathe. And then foot down, leg off, stretch both legs straight. Breathe. From here, a simple cross-legged forward bend. So cross the shins, turn the thighs in with your hands, walk the hands forward and fold over the legs. So this is just a position to regroup. So tune into the breath and let the attention to the breath carry you underneath the stream of thoughts that narrate, evaluate, and critique. Walk the hands back in, come on up, change the cross of the legs. Turn the thighs in with your hands. Squeeze the knees together. Take the hands forward. A couple more breaths. And then walk the hands back in. we're going to come onto the knees. So you might want a blanket across the mat. So if you're facing the long edge of the mat, which will be appropriate, you want to put the blanket so that you're kind of on the narrow side of the blanket. The narrow side of the blanket is in line with the long edge of the mat. And then come forward, step the right foot out to the right, and have the right knee, relatively speaking, bent, with the knee pointing out. I mean, you don't have to have the knee right over the foot and so on, but you've created this position so that the inside edge of the thigh is long and the right knee points, relatively speaking, over the middle toes of the right foot. So now take and you can put both hands on the ground, take the right hand to the inside edge of the right foot. Move the right sitting bone back toward the wall behind you. And then make your way down. So you could just come down onto your right elbow, and that could be where you stay. And you're working the elbow to the ground. If the elbow's to the ground, you could tuck the right shoulder underneath the right knee and squeeze the knee in. If that's where you're at, you're putting the right hand on the ground so that the fingers point toward the short edge of the mat, and then lift the right heel. If that's working, you squeeze the right heel toward the ground to lift the right foot up off the ground. At that point, you can put your left hand on your left hip, lift the chest. Perhaps stretch the left arm straight up in the air. So this is movement toward a pose called Visvamitrasana. So I'm really working the foot. Pinky toe side of the foot is pulling back to the outer knee. I'm squeezing the heel toward the sitting bone, and I'm clamping the leg with the arm. I'm clamping the arm with the leg. Put the foot back down, unwrap. Come up, I'm going to move the blanket a little bit more over to the right side of the mat. And I'm going to kneel on my right foot. I'm going to kneel on my right knee. Take the left foot to the left, point the knee out. So I want to kind of be able to sink down a little bit into that knee. In that direction. So it's very similar to Visvamitrasana, extended side angle, in the work in this leg. So then with the hand, maybe come onto move the left sitting bone back, but keep the knee relatively pointing over the middle toe. Take the left forearm down to the ground. So you might stay here. You might tuck the left arm under the knee and put the hand down. The hand's quite a ways back toward the wall behind you. If you're there, lift your left heel, part one. Part two is and you kind of walk the left foot forward toward the long edge of the mat that you're facing. Lift the foot up. Flex the foot, pull the baby toe to the squeeze the heel to the sitting bone. Put the right hand on the hip, maybe take the right arm up, head back, chest up. And then hand down, foot down, unwrap. Gomukhasana. So take the left knee behind the right knee, widen the feet, sit back in between the knees with the right knee over the left. Take the left foot a little bit to the right. Walk the right foot a little in to the left. Rotate the right calf away from you. And then come forward some amount. In the coming forward, drop the right sitting bone to the ground. Lengthen the front of the torso. Walk the arms out, but it's not a big walk out.
come on up and then change the leg. So you can simply lean back and switch, or you can come forward onto your hands and knees and change sides. So now left knee is on top of right. Walk the right foot out a little bit so that you can drop the left hip down. Bring the left foot in as best you can. And turn the left calf out away from you. Walk the hands forward. Come forward. Samamat. Breathe. So this position is an opportunity to center and ground for the next round of the arm balance, building on. And then come on up. So the first option is to repeat what we just did a moment ago, kneeling. So if that's the case, have the blanket for the knees as needed and come onto your knees, bring the right foot out. If you're going further, then come up to stand. And we'll enter from Visvamitrasana like we did earlier. So turn the left foot slightly in, rotate the right leg and foot out. Deeply bend the right knee. And put the right hand or both hands down on the ground inside the right foot. So here you can simply work your way down onto your elbow. And as you do that, the right sitting bone moves back toward the wall behind you. So this is just another place to be and to do the work. So that's to get the elbow down, if that's happening or you're close. And you don't have to get the elbow down. Then take the right hand behind you on the ground. Then lift the right heel. Maybe move the right foot forward toward the long edge of the mat. Up. Lift the left arm. Maybe stretch the left arm up, straight up in the air. And then left hand down. Right foot down, unwrap. Change sides. So, right foot turns in, left-legged foot turns out. Bend the left knee, aiming it straight over the middle toes of the left foot. With the hands on the inside of the knee, take the left sitting bone back, maybe come toward your left elbow. Maybe hook the arm under. With the hand down, lift the left foot. Maybe walk the left foot forward and pull it in toward the left sitting bone. Put the right hand up. Maybe stretch the right arm up. And then hand down, foot down. If you've been working on your knees, just come onto your knees. If you've been working standing, then come to stand in the middle of the mat. So one more. I'm going to flip over because I find the other side has a little more traction for things like this. So you might want to do that, depending on your mat. So one more. And again, you just work wherever you were in the previous one. Maybe this time you extend the right leg on the first side straight. Maybe then you extend the left leg on the left side straight. If you're doing that, you're going to lengthen through the inside edge of the foot. Internal rotation of the leg to push it straight. So just for a moment, bend your right knee and lift the foot up off the ground. And as you stretch the leg straight, rotate it in. So it's really the big toe that comes to the ground first. That's just an awkward
position, but it helps to cement in your mind that that's the way that you're gonna stretch the leg straight. So change sides. Stand on your right foot, lift your left leg up. Turn that leg in, so the knee comes, it's like the Garudasana work, to turn the leg internally, and then as you put it down, you're going to have your left butt cheek sticking out, and the big toe side of your left foot touches the ground first. So that's the action if you're gonna stretch your legs straight in Visvamitrasana. So here we go. Step the feet apart. Turn the left foot a little bit in, the right leg and foot out. Bend the right knee. Put the right hand, or put both hands down. Fold your torso down on the inside edge of the right leg. Everything else is the same. So you're gonna work wherever you're at. Maybe right elbow down, maybe right arm behind, and you're just getting the hand flat. If that's all working, then as you lift the right leg up, you're turning it in to stretch it straight. And when you have that happening, lift the other arm up. Stretch the leg straight, lift the chest, move the head back, and then bend, put the right foot on the ground, unwrap everything, come up. Change sides, so right foot in, left foot out. So we're really using the leg strength to hold the leg against the arm. There's a variation where we catch the leg and then we get to use the other arm to help with that, but here we're really just using the work in the legs. So you want to clamp the leg in the arm and turn that leg in as you stretch it straight. So with the left foot and knee turned out to the left, come over. Anchor your right heel. Spin your left sitting bone back. Put the elbow down inside the foot or take the hand to the outside. Then lift the foot up. As you stretch the leg straight, lift the chest, stretch the other arm. If you're not stretching the leg straight, you're keeping it bent, you're working there. And then hand, foot. Undo everything, bring yourself back up. Face the short edge of the mat and stand and come into a standing forward bend, Visvamitrasana. And so here, completely fold over the legs, release the head. As you release the head, soften the jaw. And take the residue of the experience of that work in Visvamitrasana, regardless of, the narrative around that experience. Take the residue and pull it down and into the center of the chest. In that space that is in the center of you. And feed it into the space there. And that space that might be gold sunlight, cobalt blue, iridescent like the neck of a peacock, or radiant night sky sprinkled with tiny stars. Feel the breath move there. Bend the knees, place the hands flat. Step all the way back, downward facing dog. Inhale into plank pose, and then exhale, lie on your stomach. Bring your left forearm in front of you. So you can either rest your forehead on your left forearm or prop yourself up. On the left forearm, we're doing a thigh stretch here. Visvamitrasana, one-legged frog pose. Scoop up the low belly, firm the muscles of the buttocks, and especially if you've propped yourself up on your left forearm, descend the shoulder blades. Bend the right knee. Take the right palm up so the palm faces the ceiling, and then put the palm on the inside, the big toe side of the right foot. Bend the right elbow, and if possible, swivel your right hand so that the V between your thumb and your first finger comes across the base of the toes. If none of that's working or making sense, just catch the outside edge of the right ankle with your right hand. Wherever you are, draw the right heel toward the outer edge of the right hip. Keep the buttocks firm, the belly toned, and lift the center of the chest forward and curl it slightly up toward the sky. More importantly, release the space across the front of the right shoulder and along the front of the right thigh. Let go of that foot. Stretch that leg straight. We adjust as needed to prop yourself up on your right forearm. Bend your left knee. Take the left palm up and then put it on the inside edge of the foot. Pointing the elbow toward the sky, swivel the base of the swivel the V between the thumb and the first finger across the base of the toes. Or way makes sense. And draw the left heel toward the outside of the left hip. Scoop up the low belly and from the buttocks. Lengthen the front of the left thigh. And keeping the shoulders relatively facing the short edge of the mat. Breathe into the center of the chest and draw the heart center forward. Kind of drag the right forearm toward the body for that to happen. And then lightly release. Roll over onto your back. So, bridge pose, Setu Bandha. Bend the knees, place the feet down on the ground. Bring the heels in toward their respective sitting bones. Bend the elbows. Take the elbows several inches away from the sides of the body. Tuck the tops of the shoulders under. Pushing into the heels and keeping the knees pointing straight over the middle toes, lift the hips up. Scoop the tops of the shoulders under. So we want to erase any constriction along the front of the torso here. So without dropping the chin, push the top of the upper arm bones down, push the heels down. Lift the outer hips. The outer edges of the hips faster than the pubic bone. Curl the chest toward the chin. Either keep your arms bent or stretch the arms straight, grip the edges of the mat and turn the upper arm strongly out. Couple more breaths, really lift up really well. And then exhale, bring the hips back down. Pause for a moment. And then supporting the head with a blanket as needed. Shavasana. Stretch out on your back. Support the back as needed. And with support behind the head as needed. Lie down.
Legs and the feet open to the sides. Either bend the elbows and place the palms on the torso, or with the arms at the sides, turn the arms so the palms face up. Close your eyes. Let go of the doing, so that here the body can release into the gravitational pull of the earth. Equally let go of the breath, so that the breath moves of her own volition. And now that the work of the practice is done, as fully and as completely as possible, in whatever way makes sense or doesn't make sense, open to the possibility of grace showing herself, eradicating misunderstandings, eradicating loneliness, the sense of separateness, the truth of who and what. gently deepen your breath. With the next deeper breath in, bend the knees, place the feet on the ground. Supporting the right arm, supporting the head with the right arm as needed. Roll all the way to your right side. After you pause there for a moment, push down with your left hand and bring yourself up. Come to sit. Sitting well, close your eyes. Join your hands at your heart. May we continue to do the work of the practice and open to the spontaneous arrival of grace and the infinite possibilities and the illumination of truth that she brings. We'll seal our breaths with one Om. Take a breath in. Namaste.